G'day team, I'm Dr. Sean Price, and as I stand here in front of Australian Parliament House, I'm proud to announce our flagship initiative, A Seat for Humanity. The world is facing a range of global problems that no individual country can survive or solve on their own. Environmental collapse, artificial intelligence runaway, the next pandemic, and nuclear risk. Around the corner, water scarcity and food security will only grow as issues as the world population continues to increase. And without a paradigm shift in international cooperation, the human race will experience a global catastrophic event, likely by end of century, or it could be just decades away. And that's why we're proposing A Seat for Humanity, a single seat within Australia's Parliament dedicated to representing the long-term future of the entire human race and our entire planet. To ensure that when Australia's Parliament sits to discuss a national response to a global issue, such as what data we share and how we work with other countries during a pandemic, our artificial intelligence safety regulation, or our decarbonisation and climate goals, that there is one voice formally embedded into our system that weighs in for what is best for the entire world and the entire human race from inside our national decision making. We are not asking for 50% of the seats in Australia's Parliament to be dedicated to the world, but just one. In the end, Australia is part of the world, and therefore this perspective should weigh into our formal decision making as a nation. Australia's future is now deeply intertwined with the future of the entire human races because of the global problems that we now face, just as all countries are. This movement begins in Australia, but the end goal is global. Imagine Australia inspiring major governments around the world to have seats within their parliaments dedicated to the future of humanity. The world requires globally minded leadership now more than ever. It's time to build a world that works together. So how does the idea of a seat for humanity within a country's parliament work with the United Nations? Simply put, they're complementary. The United Nations is a top-down external entity, and heads of government all get together to talk. And this dialogue is better than nothing, but it hasn't been enough. It hasn't been enough to solve climate crisis, or achieve denuclearization, or prevent Ukraine and Palestine. There's a limit on what an external entity can achieve when trying to influence sovereign nation states. The idea of a seat for humanity within a country's parliament acts from within and the bottom up, from inside the decision-making processes of countries, so that before the heads of government or ambassadors even go to the United Nations, the weight of what is best for the entire world has already been weighed into their stance and their decision-making. The essence of life is to evolve and to adapt. If a species doesn't evolve and adapt when its environment changes, then it goes extinct. The human race is now at a critical time in our history. Our environment has recently changed to include global catastrophic risk. If we do not evolve ourselves and gain the capability of true global coordination, then our species could go extinct too. Right now, the future of the human race is governed by game theory, where individual nation states can only optimize for what's best for their own short-term national interests at the expense of the rest of the entire world. And this wasn't a problem in the past, when individual civilizations could rise and fall independently of one another. But now, the future of all countries are linked together because of the global problems that we now face. And that's why I'm dedicating my entire life to working towards the human race gaining the capability of true global coordination. This next step in our evolution as a species will require globally minded statespeople to rise up from within the countries across the entire world. And it's my hope that A Seat for Humanity can help accelerate this evolution. So where would A Seat for Humanity go within Australia's Parliament? Well, right now we have 151 seats in the lower house, and they represent the different local communities across Australia. And then we have 76 senates in the upper house, representing the interests of the different states and territories. And so here's how it works. For a bill to become law, it must get 50% of the seats voting yes in the lower house, and then 50% of the seats voting yes in the upper house as well. The lower house focuses more on local short-term issues, while the upper house provides a national and long-term perspective when reviewing bills. But when it comes to global challenges, these global threats don't care about borders. The decisions we make here in our parliament will affect the entire world, as will the decisions made in other countries' parliaments as well affect Australians. And that's why we are proposing Seat 77, A Seat for Humanity within Australia's Senate. So why the Senate? Because the Senate isn't just about local politics. It's when decisions are weighed against longer, broad-term, more national interests. And when it comes to global risks, Australia's national interests are tied to that of the world's. A stable climate, stronger pandemic defences, safer AI, and lower nuclear war tension. Now, you might be thinking that one seat might not be enough, but it's not just about one seat. It's about the message that we can send to the world. When Australia plants this seed of global responsibility inside our parliament, It shows the world what leadership really looks like in our globally interconnected age. If Australia leads with this seat, we can inspire other countries to follow, creating a network of globally minded statespeople across the different countries of the world. Seat 77 is just the first step towards the human race gaining the capability of true global coordination and true global cooperation. So Australia, we have the chance to make history with a new Senate seat, a seat for humanity within our parliament, dedicated to protecting the world and our shared future. And I need your help to shape it together. I'm inviting everyday Australians, mums, dads, tradies, engineers, scientists, police, firemen, business leaders, academics, doctors, lawyers, and more. If you're Australian, I want to hear from you. I need your help to design the details of this new Senate seat. Here are some of the key questions that we want your input on. How should we elect this senator? By public vote or an independent selection committee, similar to how commissioners are chosen for the Australian Human Rights Commission? What responsibilities should this senator have? Should they sit on a new Global Risk and Global Coordination Senate Committee focused on global problems, including AI, pandemic, nuclear, and climate risk? And what should their involvement be for purely national and domestic issues? And how should this seat engage globally? Should they work independently within just Australia, or should they connect and collaborate with their counterparts across the parliaments around the world to bolster international cooperation and our ability to truly globally coordinate on global issues? And lastly, how do we hold them accountable to ensure that they are fighting for humanity's future? So here's the plan. For the first couple of months, we'll be gathering your feedback from our website, which is soon to be launched, social media, and town hall events. The second step will be collecting and collating all of this feedback, analyzing it for insights, and sharing that with the public. And after that, we'll turn it into a draft bill shaped by Australians. And the last step is getting this bill into Parliament for debate. And we're going to document every single step of this process, including meeting with political parties and sharing their responses on this initiative, so you can see democracy in action. So let's give this a go. Have a chat with your friends and family, see what they think about it. I want your ideas to help shape this and improve this idea together.